there are freakouts going on amongst these people. And yes, there's also journalists out there trying to defend themselves against, let's just say, the lowest common denominator of the left. In a lot of ways, I think it's modern day Democrats, partyites, realizing that this wing of the party has to go because this wing of the party is actually dragging them down and making them unelectable in the future.
Every day, his cozying up to dictators, his obsession with Hitler that has now come out, what he has said about our veterans, and what he wants to do with the military against his political adversaries.
You know, jailing his political opponents. Yeah. Like, that rhetoric doesn't scare people?
Well, we talk about this every single, this is what,
I don't think
I've been talking about this every night.
I don't think y'all have enough conversations about it. I feel like I heard more on this network about is Kamala Harris black than I do about, you know, Donald Trump being a fascist. Well, am I wrong, Angela?
Honestly, that's bullshit. I'm sorry.
A little bit of a freak out from Mika, who I'm going to wait until a little bit later on the video to say it because I'm pretty sure somebody's going to get angry if I do, in fact, say it. And, of course, Charlemagne the fraud doing his normal shtick, and of course being called out by Anderson Cooper, who, by the way, is not exactly our friend, but of course people on the left are pissed off, and I'm pretty sure you guys know exactly what wing of the party or what wing of their movement is upset that Anderson Cooper was filibustering Kamala Harris the other night. I did do a video on this that's going to get released at 11 o'clock. I'll probably link it in the description box anyways. I'm also going to link the second channel in the comment section as well. Probably one of the videos that I made, so that way you guys can check it out and subscribe. Gear Issue 33, about to be renamed the Crusty Old Vet, going into 2025. And of course, we're going to get back to doing military movie reviews here soon. I'm just waiting on the word of when my next surgery is, the one that's going to be on my leg. So, what are we talking about? Well, we're not talking about the Crusty Old Vet. We're not talking about the video that I put out at 11 o'clock. We're talking about this bit right here from Charlemagne the Fraud, a.k.a. Leonard McKelvey, a.k.a. 46-year-old man-child. Yes, you read that correctly. He's not some young guy. He's actually getting old, closer to the halfway mark of his life, which you guys could say whatever the hell you want. I mean, but still, though, it's kind of embarrassing when you look at the Breakfast Club and exactly the fact that every day he gets slayed by his own audience because of his blind loyalty to Kamala Harris. And of course, he's going to put that on display during this segment here. But before we get to that, two things. Number one, make sure you guys please hit the like button. Make sure you guys please cut the notifications on for the channel, so that way you guys are notified when the videos come out. So that way we can fight back against the censorship. My channel, like many others, are shadow banned, so make sure you guys do that. Also, it makes the channel much, much bigger, so that way the channel can, of course, do a better job, or at least get out there, because the more subscribers you have, the more your content will be promoted. And also, to go on top of that there, make sure you guys please also share the video. You can follow me on Facebook. Just look up John Claymore. Make sure you guys hit the like on those posts as well, so that way it'll go up their algorithm too. So, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. So, what's the second thing? Oh, this meltdown from Mika Brzezinski.
As Trump's fascism is the lead story every day. His cozying up to dictators, his obsession with Hitler that has now come out, what he has said about our veterans, and what he wants to do with the military against his political adversaries. It's all huge news. This is the future that we're looking at in the next Trump term, if there is one. But this is what voters know right now, that he is killing us. I'm talking about us women. He's killing us. He is putting us at risk. He is making us afraid to have babies. He is putting our reproductive health at risk, and some women have died already because of this. So we can see right now what's coming. These headlines, and very good reporting, by the way, that shouldn't be questioned by idiots about what Trump has said about Hitler, that's incredibly important to know. But I do understand that people who are busy and that are people who are just tapping in may not be able to comprehend, because we've been free. We've been comfortable. We cannot comprehend that. And I understand that. I validate that it is hard to go from here to there. It is where we're going. I hope we don't find out the hard way.
Well, that's one problem that you have right now, was obviously preachy white women, preachy feminist white women who have a sordid past, a sordid histories. And you wonder what the future is for this party going forward. Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, two of the nuttiest nuts in the world. That's all I got to say on that. Play it in full so that way you guys could look at this woman and look at the bags under her eyes so that way you guys can know that, yeah, this woman is obviously not doing too well. And no, it was not the thing that you guys thought that I was going to say at the very, very beginning of the video to describe exactly this woman's freak out. It seems to me that panic, of course, is in fact setting in. Now, the reason why you panic like this is because you're not getting the actual votes out there. And of course, some of the election results that we're seeing right now, while Democrats are definitely up in the overall vote, they're actually way behind their numbers from 2020. And they're also, to a certain extent, behind the 2016 numbers. I'm showing you some bits out of Virginia, showing you some bits out of North Carolina, showing you some bits out of Pennsylvania, where they're touting the mail-in returns. But like I said before, in some of these states, they're almost damn near 1 million votes behind, and Republicans are actually up in early vote. Historical note. Democrats typically win the early vote. They typically win the early vote overwhelmingly. I'll explain why that's the case maybe in another video, but Republicans tend to come out and vote on election day. Republicans and the lower propensity Republican voters, the ones that primarily vote for Trump and Trump alone, they are the ones that, how do I say this? They are starting to show up at the actual polls. And of course, they have been instructed to vote Republican up ballot, which of course they will, or Republican down ballot, however you guys might want to say it. The point is this right here. Republicans are obviously in a much, much better position than what they were in 2020 and 2016 and even 2012. It's not good for the Democrats, who, by the way, are in a much, much worse position. Also in Arizona, Republicans are actually outvoting the Democrat at this moment in time, first time in that state's history, and also in Nevada, they're doing the exact same thing. Looks like Scott Pressler's efforts did, in fact, work, and the current RNC's efforts did, in fact, work. And also not to mention the fact that Trump did get 100,000 election workers and also 100,000 how do I say it's election workers and lawyers, attorneys to contest in case something happened, poll watchers, all that type of good stuff there to ensure that 2020 would be a much, much harder thing for Democrats to pull off, which is also another reason why Democrats may not be voting, because they may think they have it in the bag, because of course they will not admit the truth about what happened that night either. Just simply saying that maybe Trump constantly screaming that it was rigged may have actually had a different intention. But still, let's talk about Leonard McKelvey, a.k.a. Charlemagne the Fraud, a.k.a. the 46-year-old man-child. So Charlemagne goes on CNN, and he complains to Anderson Cooper that Donald Trump is an evil fascist and that you're not covering him hard enough. Now, guys, this segment was only about 3 minutes and 8 seconds long, so therefore it's going to require a lot more of me butting in. So get ready for stops at roughly every 20 to 30 seconds, because this right here really and truly was stupid. But let's go ahead and watch.
Yes. Apparently Trump's is going to tape a thing with Joe Rogan. Do you think she should do that?
I think that she should keep calling Donald Trump a fascist. And I think that Americans need to keep looking at the rhetoric of Donald Trump, because I don't know why we're even thinking about electing somebody who's talking about putting people in camps. I don't know why why we want to elect somebody who's talking about mass deportation. I don't know why we're having this conversation about somebody who wants to terminate.
Real quick, editing Paul here, editing Claymore. I want to go ahead and say this. If you hadn't already heard, Kamala Harris was supposed to go on Joe Rogan, or she was teasing Joe Rogan, and then she turned right back around and canceled Joe Rogan in favor of a scripted interview with Shannon Sharp. Yeah. And also something else, too, this concert that they're having in with Beyonce Knowles is just, once again, another page out of the Hillary Clinton playbook that, quite frankly, never works. So, yeah, good luck with that. But, at least Trump's willing to sit down with somebody for 3 hours. Just saying. Please keep calling him a fascist. Please do. Please keep calling him a fascist, because it doesn't work. Let me say this really quick before we go any further. Oh, by the way, Trump is going to be on Joe Rogan. Now, I don't really intend on doing a video on that, because the Joe Rogan podcast, they have a tendency to copyright claim the hell out of you anytime you use even 2 seconds from their show. You have to add all kinds of other stuff to get around that. But still, though, I don't know, maybe we will. Maybe we might talk about it on Monday. I don't know, because you guys know me on Monday. A lot of times I like to cover the weekend's news on Monday, tell you exactly what happened. But still, though, keep calling him a fascist, because that obviously does not work. By the way, there was an internal memo that came out from the Harris campaign stating that they were starting to evolve and change their strategy, because a lot of the things that they were saying about Trump was actually helping him out. Let me go ahead and briefly explain that to you guys. You see, the mainstream media loves to tell us that in certain cities like, say, New York and LA and Chicago, crime is not bad. They love to tell us that it's not bad. They love to tell us that the statistics are showing a different story, even though the FBI literally just redacted and just revised their numbers to show that crime was, in fact, as bad as what the people on the ground have been saying. Also, something else, too, what the mainstream media says does not fit the reality of the environment that people are living in. Basically, the media is just a propaganda arm. That's pretty much what the hell they are. However, the thing that I want to say is this here. I think it was one night, it was Jesse Kelly, guy who blocked me on Twitter. Not really much of I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'll just say this right here. There is one thing that I will give him credit for, because like you guys know me, I will give credit to a broken clock being right twice a day, was that he told Tucker Carlson that eventually things were going to get so bad that people would, in fact, not really care. That they would elect somebody who would just go in there and basically be a fascist or a dictator for one day, like Trump said he probably would. By the way, the bit about locking up political opponents and stuff, we'll get to that here in a second, because once again, these people love to accuse you of what it is that they do. But getting back on topic, he basically said that people are not going to care. Just get me somebody who will shut it down right away. I think that right there is what we're starting to see. If not the people inside the big blue cities voting Democrat, they're at least abstaining their vote, allowing Trump to possibly get elected. So that way he could possibly take care of the problem. But then again, at the same time, state and local elements, they're the ones that need to take care of it, because obviously this is a state and local issue. And quite frankly, the state and local governments of these places absolutely suck. It's a grand travesty, if you guys ask me. But let's continue.
To overthrow the results of an election. Aren't we supposed to be a patriotic country? Whenever somebody like Colin Kaepernick takes a knee in this country, everybody talks about, oh, that's so unpatriotic. But a guy can say he wants to terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election, and nobody cares.
And
like
start an
even
insurrection.
me bringing it up now, you brought it back to Kamala and Joe Rogan. Anderson?
Yeah.
Who gives a damn?
Yeah, who the hell cares? Seriously, every time you guys do this whole Trump is fascist, Hitler, it only makes people want to vote for him more, because people obviously want order through all the chaos. So keep it up. But there is another thing that I want to mention before we move forward. And that is, if you guys had simply allowed the Hunter Biden laptop story to not be censored, you would probably be done with Trump right now. He would probably be leaving the Oval Office in a couple of months. And you probably would be running against Mike Pence, who would have been a much, much easier opponent to beat, because oftentimes after 8 years, the vice president does intend to run for president. Normally they do, and they normally keep the base. Basically what I'm saying to you is that this right here is, once again, your own doing. So get ready for 4 more years of Trump and potentially 4 to 8 years of Vance. So go ahead and get comfy with the idea. But let's get back on point.
I mean, I think you give damn who's elected president, and
Yeah,
I'm
especially
asking
if that
you.
president is a fascist. That's talking about putting people in camps. That's talking about, once again, terminating the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election. That's talking about, jailing his political opponents. Yeah. Like, that rhetoric doesn't scare people?
We talk about this every single. This is what
I don't think.
This is literally 3,000 or 4,000 times a day that CNN brings up the fact that Donald Trump is a fascist. They bring on some left-wing loon. And, of course, they realize that, this right here is how we get our ratings, is by simply screaming that Donald Trump is a fascist. And, of course, their ratings are down. Also, do I need to mention the fact that the current administration that Kamala Harris is a part of, they've literally been trying to lock up their political opponents. I mean, what was it? Peter Navarro went to prison. What was it? Oh, yeah, that's right. Steve Bannon went to prison. Oh, yeah, that's right. 1-6 offenders. A lot of them were overcharged and kept beyond the sentencing. The nonviolent offenders, the ones they quite frankly shouldn't have been in jail. Sounds to me like, once again, the left is doing what? Accusing you of what they're guilty of. But let's continue.
every night.
I don't think y'all have enough conversations about it. I feel like I heard more on this network about, is Kamala Harris black, than I do about, Donald Trump being a fascist.
Well,
am I wrong, Angela?
Honestly, that's bullshit. I'm sorry.
Oh, I like that.
That's no,
Go
that
ahead,
is
Anderson.
that. No, I'm not. Look, I'm.
It is bullshit. Kamala Harris ain't black. But still, though, I need to remind you exactly who Charlemagne the Fraud is. Now, a lot of people are saying that they're turning on one another, and to a certain extent they are. However, it's really in a lot of ways Anderson Cooper realizing that the Democratic Party is sunk going forward. Now, like I said, I'll come back to that a little bit later on in the video, probably to close. But here's the thing I want to say. Did you notice how Charlemagne said, I like that? I like that. Well, let me explain the reason why it is that Charlemagne's suddenly saying he likes that. You see, Charlemagne the Fraud, Leonard McKelvey, 46-year-old man-child, isn't a tough guy. He isn't. He never has been, and you can tell. You see, somebody who actually believed the stuff that they were saying, they would stand on their principles and they would say, no, the hell you don't. You don't cover it the right way. You don't cover him correctly. A lot of crazy lefty loons do. Charlemagne, on the other hand, has got a history of saying, hey, look, I got a problem with Harris. He's got people in his audience who tell him all the time, look, we're not voting for her. We're going to vote for Trump. Yeah, all that type of stuff there. I've done several videos on this. Other content creators have too. I don't think I need to remind you. But to me, it always sticks out. The thing that sticks out to me the most about Charlemagne the Fraud is that time when Joe Biden basically told him, you're not black.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact
Look at how Charlemagne the Fraud responded. He didn't respond with, I'm insulted, I'm pissed off, or apologize, or Mr. Former Vice President, can you please clarify, re-clarify? He didn't do that there at all. He was just going, it's got nothing to do. The guy's a weakling, okay? That right there is the truth about Leonard McKelvey. He's a weakling. As a matter of fact, when he dies, put it on his tombstone. Weakling, bitch for the Democratic Party. But let's continue.
I'm a huge fan of yours. Okay. But to say that we're sitting around discussing is Kamala Harris black,
I've seen that. I've seen those roundtable
definitely
discussions a lot. Now, that's
true.
bullshit, Anderson. For you to say that y'all don't have those conversations.
I've never asked somebody
I'm not saying
Kamala
you.
Harris
I said
Not
the
you.
network.
He said the network.
I don't think any anchor on this network has been going around saying, is she black?
Y'all have never had
We have had, look, I'm sure we have had, nutty people or people who have strongly held beliefs who I may disagree with, who somewhere on some panel have said something, but I will just speak up for what I do on the show. I do believe it's important to get people different viewpoints as long as they're willing to have a legitimate conversation. What I don't like are surrogates who come out and just spout talking points that they don't even believe, and those are people I tried to eliminate from having ever on the air again.
We've had nutty people on the show. That is code for Charlemagne, you're a nut. Let's go ahead and watch the last bit.
No network has honest conversations about Donald Trump. Nobody's had honest conversations about Donald Trump since 2016. I saw last night they were talking about, the double standard that exists between Donald Trump and the vice president, but it's always a double standard with Trump, whether it's with Hillary, whether it's, against Biden, now with Kamala. We talk about him being a threat to democracy.
I don't know what you've been watching, but I don't know of any Trump supporters out there or people who like him who are tuning in to me every night to try to get, to be validated in their opinions. I don't know. I don't know. I disagree.
I don't think it's about validating. What do you mean, validating the Trump?
Well, you're saying that we're not. That I guess you're saying I'm not discussing all the things he is saying and doing and pointing it out and talking to,
Fascinating exchange, extremely fascinating exchange. Anderson Cooper and the liberals who are probably watching, the Democrats who own and operate CNN, are realizing that the Democratic Party is screwed for future generations. Even if Kamala Harris is to magically win this election, she would be winning the election more than likely with a Republican Congress and a Republican Senate that would, for the most part, hold her in place, while the 2026 election actually favors Republicans more in the Senate. And, of course, the country is beginning to get sick and tired of actual liberals. The Democratic Party is trying to get rid of the left-wing side of the party, which, by the way, they cannot. It's also funny, too, because it's mostly the leftists with left-leaning moderates who are saying, no, I'm not going to vote this election, which is going to cost her bigly because guess what? Yeah, and yes, I did say bigly. But it's going to cost her a lot because, when you try to play both sides of the aisle, you typically tend to lose people from both sides of the aisle. See, guys, nuts like Charlemagne the Fraud, people who get upset if the wind just touches their ear just a little bit, they're the ones who are dragging down the Democratic Party and dragging down their party for future elections. They realize now that we got to get rid of the SJW side of the party. We got to get rid of racial politics in the party. But the question is it too late for them to do so? I would say that it is, but then again, though, you really and truly have no idea what's going to happen. But with that there, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to try to get one more video out today, guys. It's going to be the video about Dana White, and of course, him going on RG3 and talking about the media. That was probably going to be the nighttime video, probably one that's going to come out right around 6 o'clock. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Going into the weekend, hope you guys have a good weekend, of course, but still, though, I'm going to have content out. Make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments. There's also going to be a video on the future of the far left going forward, as far as the online world is concerned, on Saturday. And, of course, I've got that video that I've been working on for a while that I haven't been able to get to, the Raging Feminist on Pierce Morgan Uncensored. I'm going to try to get either one or two videos out on Sunday. I may just do one. It'll probably be a long video, but still, though, make sure you guys stick around for that. With that being said, make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.